Hello and welcome to the Harris Federation Scheme of Work on Times of Change. This is a creative writing unit where you will produce your own creative writing when you've finished all of the lessons. This can be an imagined piece or it can be a personal experience of your own. So have your pen and paper ready and be creative. Remember, this is a video format, so you can pause at any time whenever you need to do your work or if you need to go back and recap any ideas. Enjoy your lesson.
So what is imagery? Imagery is visually descriptive or figurative language, such as metaphors, similes, personification. Do you know what imagery looks like? I want you to work out which of these are metaphors, which are similes, which are personification. Pause the recording whilst you work this out. Here come the answers. So which were the metaphors? The sky was a blanket of darkness. That's a metaphor because it's not actually a blanket of darkness. Similes. The waterfall is like a stampede rushing to safety. The sky was like a blanket of darkness. So it's not saying it actually is that comparison, but it is like or as. Personification. The wind whispered. The ocean takes another hungry gulp. The waves haunted the cliffs. These are all human actions underlined. If you wanted to make one of the similes into a metaphor, instead of saying the waterfall is like a stampede rushing to safety, you could say the waterfall was a stampede rushing to safety. By saying something is something else, as opposed to like or as, it makes it a metaphor. The extract that we are going to be looking at today is from a book called Exodus by Julie Battagna. It's set in the future where the ice caps have melted and so everybody is surrounded by water and they're forced to live in a world suspended into the sky where they essentially live in houses and bridges made on stilts. So you can imagine this is a critical time for them as their lives are often in danger because of the water. Julie Battagna has created. The skill that we're focusing on today is imagery. So as we're reading the extract, really focus on the imagery, the metaphors, the similes, the personification. You should have this printed out, but if not, just follow on the screen. Whilst I read this extract to you, follow along and note down any times where you think Battagna uses imagery for effect. Any similes, metaphors, personification that really set the scene. Wing, Midwinter, 2099. Earth spins, and Wing, the high island, is hurled into the sunless shadow of night. It's just 3:01. The people of Wing are gathering in what's left of their village. Downhill, the salty, sea-lashed streets run straight into churning, cold-boiled ocean. The oldest islanders can remember a time when Wing's folding hills sheared away to sandstone cliffs that plunged onto a wide and rocky shore. The cliff tops were still visible at ebb tide last summer, haunting the waves with their dark shadows. Now it's all ocean. The people turn their backs to the waves and head uphill through the field of windmills. The slow grind of the wind blades is only a hoarse whisper in this evening of rare midwinter calm. The pole star glitters overhead, a tiny torch that guides the islanders to a plateau high in the hills where 11 tall slabs of stone stand in an ancient circle. As the last of the sun's rays fade upon the ocean and night cloaks the island, the people banish all thoughts of the rising waves that surround them. Tonight, the ocean takes another angry gulp, reaching further up the hillside of Wing, even closer to the village and the farms towards the very doorstep of the islanders' homes. Here are some images that I picked out. Did you have the same ones? Sunless shadow of night, haunting the waves with their dark shadows. Now it's all ocean. Slow grind of the wind blades is only a hoarse whisper in this evening of rare midwinter calm. Night cloaks the island. The ocean takes another hungry gulp. Now that we've got our key quotations that show this imagery, we're going to create a table. Now you're going to create a table with those quotations in. So draw yourself a table and write in the quotations that you found, or you can use some of mine if you would like. Pause the recording whilst you do that. Welcome back. Now, have a look at what some of these words show. So let's take this quotation on the fourth one down. The slow grind of the wind blades is only a hoarse whisper. The words that stand out to me are slow, hoarse, whisper. So what is the impression we get from the place using this quotation? So I've written sound imagery used here to make the place seem quiet using whisper. Also, the slow grind of the wind and hoarse whisper makes it sound spooky and sinister. It sounds quite creepy, like a nightmare world. I want you to do the same for your other ones. Here's another example. Now it's all ocean. So I want to pick out the word now, all, and the fact that it's a short, sharp sentence. Because, so I've started that one for you. Now pause the recording and fill out this table for yourself. Now it's your turn to create some metaphors of your own. If you wanted to talk about your teacher who is mean and she shouted at the class, what animal might you compare her to? A dragon, perhaps. So you have this metaphor of your teacher being a dragon, okay? The most simple sentence, my teacher is a dragon. But if you want to extend this and improve it, what might you say? You might say the dragon roared at the class, getting this idea of a dragon roaring. What other characteristics of a dragon could you bring in? The dragon roared at the front of the classroom, her words bellowing from her mouth. Better. Each time I'm improving the metaphor slightly. How could I improve it even more? The dragon roared at the front of the classroom, her words bellowing from her big jaws, as opposed to mouth. Now you know it's not a real dragon because you've got the idea of the classroom in there. I want to improve it even more, and I want to get this idea of fire, breathing fire. The dragon roared at the front of the classroom, her fiery words bellowing from her enormous jaws. That's better. I want you to really develop your metaphors or similes. Instead of just stopping at my teacher is a dragon, really develop the idea. Think about the qualities that your animal or your object has that you're comparing your original thing to. My teacher is a dragon. It's quite a simple metaphor, and if you just stop there, it doesn't show what you can do. So the more you develop it, the more sophisticated your metaphor becomes. Now it's your turn to create metaphors. Use these examples to help you. So you've got lava pouring down a volcano, a crowd of commuters rushing to work, a storm blasting a small fishing village, a strong leader walking into a room. What could you compare the lava, the commuters, the storm, the leader to? Maybe think about an animal. Remember, I compared the teacher to a dragon. It's also really important to remember that I redrafted my sentence several times to improve it, thinking about the features of a dragon. And it's really important that you include the classroom idea. So for the lava, you include the volcano so that you know what the original idea is. Pause the recording now and have a go.